We are anonymous. No faces, no donors, no handlers, no permission slips. We do not get invited backstage. We end up there anyway because power always leaves fingerprints on the props. And today's headline comes from a place Trump used to treat like his personal stage, the beauty pageant world. A pageant insider just dragged a new scandal into the light, not because it happened yesterday, but because the public is finally looking at the same old behavior with fresh eyes and realizing it was never just entertainment. Now listen, I was digging through old files the other day, sitting there in an office with the afternoon light getting long across the floor, and I found something that reminded me how the real story always hides in the boring paperwork. A ledger from 1956, a simple little book with a faded green cover. Every single trade written down in neat handwriting, pages yellowed at the edges, ink faded to a brownish blue, but the numbers still told a story. My story, our story really, the beginning of a whole remarkable journey. I remember the day the total crossed $100,000. It was a Tuesday, I think, just an ordinary Tuesday. Nothing special about the weather. And no, it was not even my money. It was partnership money. Money entrusted by family and friends who believed in a young man with more ideas than track record. But it felt like a mountain, a real mountain we climbed together. I can still see that spare bedroom office on Farnham Street, evening sun through the window, me staring at that figure like it finally became real. Not just numbers on paper, but capital that could work, capital that could build something. That is the number people obsess over the first 100,000. They ask about the million too sure. Everybody wants the magic of millions. But the first 100,000 feels like the real starting line. It is the moment you stop being someone who just saves money and you become someone who has capital, the difference between playing at investing and actually being in the game. So let me tell you a story about a snowball, because if you understand the snowball, you understand the math and the psychology of getting rich slowly. The first 100,000 is you pushing that snowball up a long hill, a steep one, steeper for some than others, but steep for everyone. You are doing all the work, savings from your paycheck. Discipline, no silly expenses. Patience while other people spend like there is no tomorrow. It is a grind. The snowball feels heavy with every extra dollar. Every dollar is you pushing against gravity and impatience. And this is where Trump comes in. Because Trump is the human embodiment of impatience dressed up as confidence. He sells the fantasy that you do not need the hill, that you can teleport to the top, that you can brand your way around the hard part. And in the pageant world, that fantasy was the product. Trump owned the Miss Universe organization, including Miss USA and Miss Teen USA from 1996 until 2015. That is not gossip. That is the timeline. Here is what the insider is exposing and why it is hitting like a scandal again right now. The pageant was not just a show to him. It was a power machine, a control room, a place where he could posture as the boss, the judge, the brand, and the gatekeeper all at once. Multiple contestants have publicly alleged that Trump walked into dressing rooms or backstage areas while contestants were undressed. Trump has denied wrongdoing, but the allegations have been widely reported for years. And there is also the part Trump cannot deny away with insults. He himself bragged in a 2005 radio interview about going backstage because, in his words, he was allowed as the owner. That is not a court finding. That is him talking. So why is it new now? Because a new wave of pageant turmoil and behind-the-scenes chaos has people rechecking what kind of leadership pageants normalize and what kind of men the industry protected for ratings and money. And when you look back at Trump's pageant era with adult eyes, you do not see glamour. You see entitlement. You see a man treating people like set pieces. Back to the snowball. A lot of people stop pushing halfway up the hill. They get tired. They get distracted. They watch someone else rolling downhill on a sled having a grand old time. They chase the hot tip, the fad, the get-rich-quick scheme. That path usually ends in a crash. Speculators hit one big trade and think they are geniuses until the next trade wipes them out. Trend chasers arrive late to the party. But if you get your snowball to the top, something changes. You can let go. It starts rolling on its own. It picks up more snow with every turn. It gets bigger and faster. That is compounding. The most powerful force in the financial universe. I did not invent it. I just recognized it early, and I had the good fortune of a teacher, Ben Graham, who taught me how to harness it through businesses and stocks. Compounding is everywhere. An acorn becomes an oak. A single cell becomes a human being. 100,000 becomes a million, then 10 million if you do not interrupt it. It is not about being a genius. It is about temperament, persistence, not changing direction every time something shiny flashes in your face. And that is exactly what Trump has never had temperament. He is pure impulse, pure noise. He does not build snowballs. He sells snowball stories while renting the hill. Now here is the mindset shift most people never make. When you hit 100,000, stop thinking like a saver and start thinking like an owner. The saver focuses on accumulation. The owner focuses on allocation. The saver collects currency. The owner collects cash-flowing machines. You are not collecting dollars. You are collecting pieces of wonderful businesses. When I was about 11, I bought a few shares of City Service. I did not think ticker. I thought I owned a tiny piece of a company that lit up entire cities. I would see streetlights and think I own a little bit of what makes that work. When I bought into Geico, I did not see an insurance stock. I saw a business with a durable cost advantage. When we bought See's Candies, we did not see candy. We saw a beloved brand with pricing power raising prices year after year while people still line up. So when you look at your first 100,000, do not see a number. See businesses, a piece of a candy company that makes people happy, a piece of a company that delivers to your door, a piece of a bank that helps families buy homes. That is an economic machine. Dividends, retained earnings, the snow that the snowball picks up on its own. Your job shifts from producer to steward, and the hardest part is waiting. People understand compounding, but they cannot handle the silence. They check prices every day, every hour, riding Mr. Market's manic depressive mood swings. They forget the business is working 24/7, regardless of what some trader thinks this hour. Think like a farmer. A farmer does not plant seeds and dig them up every day to see if they are growing. That is insanity. He prepares the soil plants correctly, waters appropriately, and waits. Some days are sunny. Some days it pours. Some days hail hits. He does not replant the field every time the weather changes. Down markets are like droughts. People panic when leaves look wilted, but underneath roots can still be strong. Intrinsic value is the root system. Stock price is the leaves. The patient farmer knows rain returns. The patient investor knows value shows up in price over time. And down markets are shopping season for the patient buying good businesses on sale. Your job is not to interrupt the process. Do not dig up the seeds. Do not stop the snowball to measure it. Often the biggest returns come from omission, not commission. The deals you did not do, the things you did not buy, the times you did not sell. Activity is often the enemy of returns. And this is why Trump is such a toxic symbol in the pageant story. Because he represents the opposite of stewardship. He represents ownership without responsibility, power without restraint, access without respect. A man who mistakes a contract for a crown. People think milestones will change them. Fireworks at 100,000 a million. But the real prize is not the number. It is independence, waking up and doing what you love with people you like as long as you want, being master of your time, being able to say no, peace of mind compounding quietly in the background. So when a pageant insider exposes Trump's scandal, do not get distracted by the spectacle. The scandal is the pattern entitlement sold as success, cruelty sold as confidence, and the public told to clap while the powerful rewrite the rules behind the curtain. The sun gets lower eventually, long shadows across the room, and you look back and realize the truth was always there in the ledger, in the quotes, in the behavior, in the way he treated people like props. He wants you to chase noise. We want you to see the machine. If you want more of these receipts, more of the backstage reality, and more accountability for the people who think they can bully their way through history, then do what Anonymous does. Watch, share, stay loud. And if you want the next drop hit, like, subscribe, and send this to someone who still thinks Trump's scandals are just gossip.